She sat in the wrong seat on the plane, fumbling with her bag and apologizing profusely to the man whose calm gaze met hers. He smiled, a soft, genuine smile that made her feel instantly at ease. "No worries," he said, shifting slightly to let her in, even though it wasn't technically her seat. She had misread her boarding pass in a rush after a chaotic morning and a missed alarm. Embarrassed but grateful, she slid into the seat, promising herself to move once the real passenger showed up. But no one ever did. He didn't say much at first. He was dressed simply, jeans, a comfortable sweatshirt, and reading glasses perched on his nose. A tablet glowed on the tray in front of him, displaying some financial report she didn't understand. But there was something about him, composed, kind, with a quiet presence that felt safe. She looked out the window as the plane taxied, trying not to think about how exhausted she was, both physically and emotionally. Life hadn't been kind lately. Job hunting was brutal, rent was overdue, and her last relationship had ended in disappointment. She was heading home to visit her mom, desperate for a break. It wasn't long before they struck up a conversation. It started with a simple question: "Is this your final destination?" She shook her head. "Just a layover, life layover," she joked weakly. Something about her answer caught his attention. He put the tablet down. They talked about small things at first. Travel, favorite books, coffee or tea, then deeper things. She told him about being laid off, about sending out dozens of resumes and getting ghosted. About how hard it was to keep showing up every day with hope when the world didn't seem to care. He listened, not the kind of distracted nod people give, but really listened, his eyes never leaving hers. "You're not invisible," he said at one point, and something in her chest loosened. She hadn't even realized how heavy that silence inside her had become. She learned he was in town for a board meeting. She assumed he was some mid-level manager or consultant, certainly not the kind of person who traveled with assistants or reserved lounges. But he deflected questions about work. "I'm just taking time to slow down a bit," he said. "Trying to reconnect with the world in front of me." They shared stories, laughed, even cried a little, quietly, when she talked about her father's passing and how grief comes in waves that knock you over when you least expect it. He told her about losing someone too, his younger sister. It was raw, but beautiful, that kind of shared pain that forges unexpected bonds. Hours passed in what felt like minutes. She forgot all about switching seats. As the plane began its descent, he turned to her, eyes soft but serious. "You're smart, brave, and full of heart. Anyone would be lucky to work with someone like you." She laughed lightly. "Tell that to the 20 companies who never replied." "I will," he said, and handed her a card. She read it, and froze. The logo was familiar. It was a major company, one she had actually applied to 2 weeks ago. A tech giant known for innovation, culture, and an almost mythical hiring process. Her eyes widened. His name matched the CEO she had read about in the press, a man notoriously private, rarely seen in the media, known for his low-key lifestyle and philanthropic work. "You're him." "I am," he said, not smugly, but with quiet acknowledgement. "But I'm also just a guy who appreciates real people. You impressed me, not because you tried to, but because you didn't." She was speechless. Back at the terminal, they said goodbye like old friends. He told her to email him personally. "Not a guarantee of a job," he said, "but a promise to listen and consider." Then he smiled. "You sat in the wrong seat, but maybe you were exactly where you needed to be." A week later, she got a call. Not from HR, but from his assistant, inviting her for a casual lunch with the executive team. No interview, just a conversation. She showed up nervous but determined, wearing her best thrifted blazer and a pair of shoes held together by glue and hope. The lunch turned into a tour. The tour turned into an impromptu brainstorming session. By the end of the day, she had met half the creative department and the CTO. They were curious, kind, and surprisingly down to earth. 2 days later, the offer came. Not just any job, one that aligned with her passion for user experience and her skills in research and storytelling. She cried when she read the email. Not just because of the job, but because someone had seen her, really seen her, and chosen to believe in her. Months passed. She thrived. She grew. She paid off debts, moved into a better apartment, and helped her mom fix the roof. She never forgot that flight, or the man who changed everything just by being present and listening. One day, during a team retreat, she found herself sitting beside him again, this time at a company event. He nudged her, smiling. "Still think it was the wrong seat?" She shook her head, beaming. Best mistake I ever made. He laughed, eyes twinkling. Funny how life works when we stop trying to control every detail. Sometimes, serendipity just needs us to show up. She raised her glass in a quiet toast, grateful beyond words, not just for the job, but for the journey. For the reminder that life has a funny way of surprising us, especially when we feel lost. That even the wrong turns can lead to the right places. That a simple act, like sitting in the wrong seat, can set a cascade of events into motion, turning a moment of embarrassment into a life-changing connection. And so, whenever she flew again, she'd smile as she double-checked her seat, knowing full well that sometimes the best stories begin when you don't. Because maybe it's not really about the destination. Maybe it's about the people we meet, the chances we take, and the grace we find in unexpected places. She never sat in a wrong seat again. Because every seat she chose after that, she chose boldly. With hope, with courage, and with the quiet confidence that sometimes, fate just needs you to sit down, be open, and let the story unfold. And if she ever doubted it, she just looked at that old boarding pass she had kept tucked inside her wallet, creased and fading, but full of meaning. A reminder that magic still exists, even at 35,000 feet.